Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina wa habibina wa imamina wa qudwatina Muhammad ibn Abdullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome back after a lengthy break. Allahul Musta'an. Hope you are all well, inshallah. Qabbalallahu minna wa minkum. Okay. So, inshallah, let's continue with our weekly class on the explanation of Ājurrumiyyah. And we are currently going over Al-Tuhfah Al-Sanniyyah, which is a commentary on Ājurrumiyyah. It is by Shaykh Muhammad Muhyiddin Abdul Hamid rahimahullah. And last thing that we started was alamatun nasb. Alamatu an-nasb. So who can quickly remind us? He mentioned, the author rahimahullah mentioned 5. He said, walin nasbi khamsu alamat. Therefore, nasb, there are 5 alamat, 5 signs. Now, who can remind us of these 5 alamat? Tayyib. In the chat we have fatha, alif wal kasra, wal ya, naam, wa hadfun noon. Naam, ahsant. Tayyib. So these are the 5 alamatun nasb. Alamatun nasb can be a fatha, which is the alama al-asliyah, or it can be an alif, or it can be al-kasra, or it can be al-ya, or it can be hadfun noon. And then we started talking about the first one, which is al-fatha, al-fathatu wa mawadi'uha. And we mentioned that al-fatha is alamatun nasb in 3 scenarios. What are these 3 scenarios? As the author says, فَأَمَّا الْفَتْحَةُ فَتَكُونُ عَلَامَةً لِلنَّصْبِ فِي 3 مَوَاضِعَ. As for fatha, then it is an alama, a sign for nasb, in 3 places. Does anybody remember the 3 places in which fatha is the alamat nasb? Okay, so we have it in the chat also. Naam, al-ismul mufrad, jam'u taksir, naam, and al-fi'l al-mudari. Tayyib, ahsantum. Okay, so we have brother Adam and the sister also. Naam, that is not attached to anything before. Okay. Yep, and we're going to look at that inshallah. We're going to look at that. Okay, so these are the 3 situations in which al-fatha is alamat al-nasb. Al-ism al-mufrad, and we know what ism al-mufrad is. Jamu taksir, we know what jamu taksir is because we've studied it before. And the third scenario is al-fi'l al-mudari, but with certain conditions, and we're going to look at that. Okay, and as far as I remember, we have already taken al-ismul mufrad with some examples and some i'rab, and we have also taken jam'u taksir, and we've explained, and we've looked at examples, and we've looked at some i'rab. And now, so we are now at the third and final place where al-fatha is the alamatun nasb, and that is al-fi'lul mudari'. Al-fi'l al-mudari'. So inshallah we will continue from this now, inshallah. Okay, so that was a quick recap of the current chapter. Now inshallah I will share the screen with you and we can get started. Okay. Okay, so hopefully you can see the screen. Al-fathatu wa mawadi'uha. Now, so where we stopped is here. This is where we stopped. So inshallah, let's continue from here. Okay, let's read it together. So this is now the speech of the Sharih, not the author, not the Musannif, who is Ibn Ājurrumiyyah, rahimahullah, but it is the author and or the explainer, Sheikh Muhammad Muhyiddin Abdul Hamid, rahimahullah, Al-Tuhfah Al-Sanniyyah. So he says, وَأَمَّا الْفِعْلُ الْمُضَارِعُ الْمَذْكُورُ. And as for the fi'l al-mudari that has been mentioned by the author, فَنَحْوُ قَوْلِهِ تَعَالَى لَن نَبْرَحَ عَلَيْهِ عَاكِفِينَ. لَن نَبْرَحَ عَلَيْهِ عَاكِفِينَ. Yani we will continue being devout to it. That is what Bani Israel, they said to Musa alayhi salam, or it was Harun alayhi salam, I cannot remember now, but they said that to one of them when they prohibited them from worshipping the calf. They replied and they said, لَن نَبْرَحَ عَلَيْهِ عَاكِفِينَ. We shall continue being devout to it, and we will continue worshipping it. So here, where is the fi'l al-mudari? Look what it says here. فَنَبْرَحُ. فَنَبْرَحَ. Here, نَبْرَحَ فِعْلٌ مُضَارِئٌ مَنْسُوبٌ بِلَنْ. فِعْلٌ مُضَارِئ, it is مَنْسُوبٌ بِلَنْ. You can see نَبْرَحَ وَعَلَامَةُ نَصْبِهِ الْفَضْحَةُ ظَاهِرَةٌ. Very clear, yes? لَن نَبْرَحَ. There's a fatha ظاهرة. وَقَدْ تَكُونُ الْفَتْحَةُ مُقَدَّرَةً. Sometimes a fatha can be muqaddara, as we know. For example, نحو يسرني أن تسعى إلى المجد. يسرني, it pleases me that you strive for al-majd, glory. فَتَسْعَى, here's the fi'l, أن تسعى. أن تسعى. فَتَسْعَى فِعْلٌ مُضَارِئٌ مَنْسُوبٌ بِأَنْ. An makes fi'l mudari mansoob, just like lan makes mudari منصوب. فتصل فعل مضارع منصوب بالأن وعلامة نصبه فتحة مقدرة على الألف. Because this is ألف المكسورة at the end. وعلامة نصبه فتحة مقدرة على الألف منع من ظهورها التعذر. No need to explain that again because we've done it tens of times, if not hundreds. Okay, so that is it. If you have a fi'l mudari, just the fi'l mudari on its own with nothing attached to the end of it, and something comes before it, an amil that makes fi'l mudari mansoob, then the fi'l mudari will be mansoob, and the alamatu nasbihi will be what? Al-fatha. Can be al-fatha al-zahira, can be al-fatha al-muqaddara. منع من ظهورها التعذر، منع من ظهورها الثقل، منع من ظهورها اشتغال المحل بكسرة المناسبة, as we have explained many times before. Okie dokie. So now what we want to do, we're going to do some i'rab. We are going to do some i'rab. Okay, because this i'rab is pretty new, some of it is not. So I will do this one for you on the board. And what I'm going to do from now on, brothers and sisters, if there are certain i'rabs of certain words that we have done many times before and practiced and written, to save time, I will not write that i'rab out. I will just say it. Why? Because we have written it many times before. So you should be familiar with it. Okay. However, if there's a new i'rab, like there's a certain word and a certain new i'rab we have not seen before, then for sure, inshallah, we will write it down. I think that's the best thing to do. Yes, to capitalize on the time that we have. Okay, so the i'rab, let's look at the ayah first. لن نبرح عليه عاكفين. لن نبرح عليه عاكفين. Okay. So let's write it. Lan. Not a good start. Lan. Oh, subhanallah. It's been quite a long time. I haven't written using this, so I've lost the touch. لن نبرح عليه عاكفين. Okay. First thing I want to tell you something about this verb here. The fi'l madi is bariha. And this is from min. We will look at these later in more detail. But just to let you know that this fi'l bariha, it is from the akhawatu kana. And as you know, the i'rab of kana wa akhawatuha, which we shall look at later, but you should know this from Medina books 1, 2, 3, or whatever you studied before, that kana, it has a ism, then kana and akhawat of kana, they have a ism and a khabar. And the ism is marfu' and the khabar is mansoob. And same rule will apply to this fi'l. So So as for lan, I'm not sure if we have done this before. So it is harfu nafyin. Yes. And sorry, we start harfu nasbin. But that's its main job. Harfu nasbin. Harfu nasbin. Wa nafyin. واستقبال مبني على السكون لا محل له من الإعراب. So this is lan. It is from the nawasib, meaning it comes before fi'l mudari, it makes it mansoob. So it is a harfu nasbin, and it makes the fi'l mudari mansoob. Wa nafyin, negative. Lan means not in the future. Wastiqbalin is for the future. As you know, that fi'l mudari can be for now or the future. But if lan comes before fi'l mudari, it restricts it to istiqbal, mustaqbal, the future. As mabni ala sukun la mahalla min i'rab. Now nabraha. Okay. We will say fi'lun mudari'un naqis. It's naqis because kana and akhawatuha, they are af'al, they are af'al an-naqisah. Okay? So this is naqis. And we have also explained why. We have explained before briefly why these af'al kana akhawatu are called naqisa. Yes? We've also explained that before. So fi'l mudari'un naqisun. Yes? What's his job? يرفع الاسم وينسب الخبر. Yes? And we can say وهو منسوب بلن. ومنسوب بلن. And the alamat nasb is very clear. We've done it already in the book. وعلامة نصبه الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. نعم. فعل مضارع ناقص يرفع الاسم ينزل الخبر وهو منسوب بلن وعلامة نصبه الفتحة الظاهرة على آخره. نعم. Okay. So where is the ismu nabraha? Remember we said it needs a ism and needs a khabar. So wasmuhu. Yes. ضمير مستتر وجوبا تقديره نحن. لن نبرح نحن. That is a ism of nabraha. واسمه ضمير مستتر وجوبا تقديره نحن. Okay. So it says لن نبرح عليه. I'm not going to write the i'rab of that because we know the i'rab of that. على حرف جر مبني على السكون لا محل من الإعراب. والهاء ضمير متصل مبني على الكسر في محل جر بعلى. والجار والمجرور متعلق به جار مجرور متعلق بعاكفين. عليه عاكفين. We will continue to be devout to it. Worship it. Okay? So, الجار والمجرور متعلق بوات عاكفين. Okay, now what about the i'rab of عاكفين? عاكفين, what is عاكفين? عاكفين, of course, remember, نبرح needs اسم and khabar. This is khabaru. This is khabaru نبرح. It's the khabar of nabrah. And of course, it's going to be mansoob. It's going to be mansoob because the khabar of kana wa akhawatu is mansoob. وعلامة نصبه الياء. لماذا؟ لأنه جمع المذكر السالم. والنون عوض عن التنوين. نون عوض عن التنوين في الاسم المفرد. That is the i'rab of لن نبرح عليه عاكفين. And this i'rab, you should remember it. It will help you when we come to talk about kana wa akhawatuha. If you have understood this i'rab, then you can pretty much do the i'rab of any jumla which has kana or ahad or ihda akhawatuha. So if you don't know the i'rab of this, now you've understood this, you can apply this i'rab to kana wa akhawatuha quite easily. You just have to figure out where is the ism and where is the khabar. The second i'rab I'm going to do with you again as well because it's something new. And it's a bit complex, but I think you need to do this. Learning things, new things is good. Some things are new here, some things are not. يسرني أن تسعى إلى المسجد. Sorry, إلى المجد. إلى المجد. So the first thing is يسر. يسر, of course, it is, I'm not going to write it, but فعل المضارع مرفوع لخلوه من الناصب والجازم. فعل المضارع مرفوع لخلوه من الناصب والجازم وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. يسر. النون, we've done noon as well before, and we know that is called noonul wiqaya. And why is it there and why is it called noonul wiqaya? I have explained that before too. So noonul wiqaya مبني على الكسر لا محل لها من الإعراب ولا عمل. And الياء, it is مفعول, it is okay. الياء ضمير متصل مبني على السكون في محل نصب مفعول به. في محل نصب مفعول به. So look here, brothers and sisters, look. يسر is the فعل مضارع. But normally after فعل مضارع, we should, after any فعل, we should have a فاعل. But so far we haven't mentioned the فاعل. It's strange. نون الوقاية. يعني it protects the fi'l mudari from becoming maksur. You know, as you know, fi'l cannot be maksur, yes? A fi'l can never be maksur. So the noon wiqaya here protects it. Okay, we've done the detail of that before. Al-ya yasurruni. It pleases me. So al-ya is the maf'ulun bihi. ضمير متصل مبني السكون في محل نصب مفعول به. An. Okay, an حرف نصب ومصدر واستقبال. Same before. واستقبال مبني على السكون لا محل له من الإعراب. If you go up, let's look at lan. Lan is حرف نصب ونفي واستقبال. An is حرف نصب ومصدر واستقبال. What does that mean? It means that fi'l al-mudari that comes after an is mansoob. Istiqbal is for only the future. And masdar, what do we mean by that? That means that the fi'l mudari that comes after an and the fi'l mudari that comes after an gets changed into a masdar. Okay? Gets changed into a masdar. Masdar of this fi'l. What's the masdar of sa'a yas'a? Sa'i. I mean, you go sa'i, you do umrah. Sa'yun. This is the masdar. Sa'yun. Struggle, strive. Yes? So that's why this is called, an is called harfu nasbin wa masdarin wastiqbalin. Harfu nasbin, because it makes a fi'l mudari after it mansoob. Masdarin, because that with its fi'l mudari after it, they get changed to a masdar of that fi'l. Like here. And istiqbalin, meaning that now the meaning of this fi'l mudari restricted to the future, cannot mean the past, cannot mean the present. Okay? These are new things, that's why I'm doing it. حرف النصب مصدر واستقبال مبني السكون لا محل من الإعراب. Now we have tas'a. Of course, tas'a, we've seen in the book the brief i'rab of it. Obviously, the first thing is it is fi'lun mudari'un, and this time, of course, is mansubun. Be what? Mansub with an. Mansubun bi an. Mansub with an. And wa alamatu nasbihi. We've done it in the book. If you go back to the book, we just read it. Wa alamatu nasbihi al-fathatu al-muqaddaratu ala akhirihi man'a min dhuhuriya ta'adhur. And we've explained ta'adhur many times. Okay. Now, before I finish off the i'rab, the remaining i'rab, which is what? Ila al-majd, which is the easy part. Ila al-majd, jar majroor. That's the easy part. We've done that many times. Ila al-majd, something like that. Now, what we have to say is, finish off the i'rab of this. Okay, so to please concentrate. An wa ma dakhalat alayhi fi ta'wili masdarin. So an An tas'a. Remember we're doing an tas'a. An wama dakhalat alayhi. An and what comes after it, what has entered upon it, meaning tas'a. What has entered upon an? It is tas'a. An wama dakhalat alayhi. An and what has entered upon it, meaning tas'a. Fi ta'wili masdarin. They are in the interpretation of a masdar. But this masdar, what is it? In this jumla, in this, of course, from sentence to sentence, what that masdar is will differ. But in this sentence, this masdar, it is fa'il. Fa'il of what? Fa'ilu of yasurru. Remember I told you that you might be thinking, where is the fa'il here? Yasurruni an tas'a ila al-majd. Where is the fa'il? The fa'il is an tas'a. Pleases me. What pleases me? An tas'a, that you work hard, that you strive. That's what pleases me. So we said, therefore, an wa ma dakhalat alayhi fi ta'wili masdarin fa'ilu yasurru. Yes. So what is the ta'wil of it then? What is the interpretation of it? Look, ta'wiluhu yasurruni sa'yuka ila al-majdi. You see this? Yasurruni, because we said that here the masdar is a fa'il. What did we say? We said the masdar is the fa'il of yasur, and fa'il is going to be marfu'. So that's why this is marfu', sa'yu. Okay. Now you might be thinking, where did this kaf come from? This kaf, where did that pop out from? Yes? That kaf come from because it's tas'a, you. Look at the first letter, ta, you. It pleases me that you strive. So what did we say? It pleases me. What pleases me? Your striving. Your striving. Your hard work. Your sa'i. Pleases me, your sa'i to glory. And then of course, ila al-majd. I'm not going to write it out. I'm going to say it. Ila harfu jar mabni sukun. لا محل الإعراب. المجد اسم مجرور بإلى ولم تجري كسر على آخره. الجار مجرور متعلق بتسعى. الجار مجرور متعلق بتسعى. So in this manner, you have learned 2 new i'rabs today. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So hopefully, inshallah, that is somewhat clear. I always thought jar majrur can be attached to the fi'l. Yes, to a fi'l or something bima'na fi'l. Remember? Fi'l or something that has the meaning of fi'l. But it depends on the sentence. It depends on the sentence. لن نبرح عليه عاكفين. عاكفين is اسم فاعل. And اسم فاعل is fine. اسم فاعل can be متعلق. يعني اسم فاعل can be from those things that harf al-jar is attached to. Yes, remember like we explained before, it's not always the case that it's the fi'l, no, by default, no. It doesn't work like that. You have to look at the meaning. Look, alayhi akifina. Do you know the word akifina? In the Quran is mentioned as well. يَعْكُفُونَ عَلَى أَصْنَامِهِمْ. So this fi'l, akafa, ya'kufu, it always comes with a harf al-jar, ala. Always comes with harf al-jar, ala. So alayhi, so yeah, I hope that's clear. Alayhi akifina. Yani to it they are devout. Yes, ufakkiru fi, naam, like this. So alayhi is actually connected to akifina. Like if we were to say, obviously this is ayah of the Quran, so we cannot change it. But if you were to say this jumla outside of the Quran, you could say, lan nabraha akifina alayhi. Lan nabraha akifina alayhi. So lan is lan. Nabraha will be fi'l mudari naqis. The ism, as we mentioned, is damir mustatir, wujub, taqdiru nahnu. And the khabar will be akifina. Lan nabraha akifina, which is mansub. Alayhi, then harf jar majroor muta'alliq bi akifina. However, obviously, this is the noble Quran, the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So firstly, we don't change it. Secondly, there's a reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, something that should be mentioned later in the sentence, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it earlier. There's many reasons that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does that. And this is from the ilm of balagh. And yani, you know, you are learning sarf and you are learning nahu. These sciences, they serve balagha, because the ultimate aim of learning these sciences like nahu in detail and sarf is to understand the balagha of the Quran, is to understand the eloquence and the beauty of the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is yani, why we are learning this. So that the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the best speech, so that can affect our hearts and that can make our hair stand on end when we recite it. And that makes us shiver and our hearts tremble and our eyes shed tears. This is why you're learning what you are learning. And if you learn it with this intention, then it's a great intention. All this, these are like servants for the Quran. All this that we learn, brothers and sisters, usul al-fiqh, and all these different sciences, we learn them to understand the Quran. Yani the ultimate aim is the Quran and the ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which are also has balagha. As you know, the Prophet ﷺ was given jawami'ul kalim, which no prophet before him was given. That he would say a few words, but they will be powerful and comprehensive. And this is why, subhanallah, you get a book of hadith that thin, and scholars explain those hadith in 20, 30 volumes. Yes. It's all wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, naam, barakallah feek. So this is the, and this is a side benefit, but yani, the Quran is full of miracles. And this is why no one can produce it. No one. Until Yawm al-Qiyamah. It's an amazing book full of miracles, mu'jizat, in the lugha, in the akhbar, in the ahkam, everything, A to every single letter, harf, tashkil. It is there for a specific reason, for specific wisdom. This is why it cannot be produced, because it's not from the speech of bashar or creation. So how can it ever be produced? So people who burn the Quran and they burn this and burn that, so what? Yes, burn it as much as you want. Yes, it's very, very painful to see that. But alhamdulillah, is preserved. Is preserved, and it shall remain preserved. Let the haters hate it. Those who want to believe in it, believe in it. It's their loss. Yes, alhamdulillah, no one can ever get rid of the Quran. Ever. Even if they burn all the copies and the original in this world, we can reproduce it, because alhamdulillah, we have millions of Muslims from all parts of the world. Those who don't understand Arabic, that's another miracle. They memorize the book word for word. So we can reproduce it again in 1 or 2 hours. Alhamdulillah. Yes. So these mujrimun, they will face the Lord one day. Naam. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so that is fi'l mudari. We mentioned just fi'l mudari on its own, with nothing attached to it at its end. Now, and yes, that's the i'rab of it. Fatha dhahira, fatha muqaddara. But now, this is the interesting part. وإن اتصل بآخر الفعل المضارع ألف اثنين. But if you have a fi'l mudari and the آخر of fi'l mudari, the end of fi'l mudari is ألف الاثنين, نحو لن يضربا, they will not hit. Those two men or boys will not hit. So you can see here fi'l mudari, at the end of it, it is alif اثنين. أو واو جماعة نحو لن تضربوا, واو الجماعة, لن تضربوا, you men, you will never hit. أو ياء مخاطبة, or ya of مخاطبة. مخاطبة is a female that you're addressing. مخاطب is the person you're addressing. If it's male, مخاطب. مخاطبة is female. The ya of the مخاطبة. نحو لن تضربي, you speak to one girl, Hind, for example. Ya Hind, لن تضربي, you will never hit. Okay, so in these 3 scenarios where fi'l mudari at the end of his alif اثنين or واو جماعة or ياء مخاطبة, لم يكن نصبه بالفتحة. Here the nasb cannot be with fatha. Remember, at the moment we're looking at situations in which al-fatha is the alamat al-nasb. So alamat al-nasb can be a fatha, ism al-mufrad, jam al-taksir, and fi'l al-mudari' with 2 conditions. That a nasib comes before it, and after it there is no alif ithnain, no waw jama'a, no ya mukhataba. Like nabraha, tas'a, we've taken before. Now they're showing you, if this happens, then don't be confused. Here, it is a fi'l mudari. Before it, it is a nasib. It is mansoob, but it's not a mansoob al-fatha. Okay? Lam yakun nasbuhu bil-fatha. It's nasbu not bil-fatha. فَكُلٌّ min tadriba. It's not tadriba, it's yadriba. Perhaps one of them is right, one of them is wrong. I don't know which one it is. فَكُلٌّ min tadriba وَتَدْرِبُ وَتَدْرِبِي mansubun bilan. So each one of these three is mansubun bilan, of course, because lan, we said, harfu nasbin wa nafyin wa istiqbalin. So lan is harfu nasb. It makes the fi'l mudari mansub. So mansub, all these three are mansub bilan. But what is the alamat nasb here? وَعَلَامَةُ نَصْبِهِ حَذْفُ النُّونِ. And we're going to come to that. Because remember we said that one of the alamat nasb is حَذْفُ النُّونِ. Remember we said alamat nasb khamsa at the beginning of this lesson. The fifth one that was mentioned, the last one, is حَذْفُ النُّونِ. And that inshallah we will take later, yeah? So, وَعَلَامَةُ نَصْبِهِ حَذْفُ النُّونِ. Because the asal is, here dear brothers and sisters, is yadribani. Yadribani. Muthanna. So then when lan comes, makes a mansoob, lan yadriba, noon is gone. Hadfun noon. Here the asal, lan tadrib, the asal is tadribuna. Fil mudari. Af'al al-khamsa. Lan comes before it makes a mansoob, alamat al-nas, what is it? Hadfun noon. Here the asal is tadribina. Anti tadribina, anti ta'kulina, anti taqra'ina, anti tashrabina. So where's the noon gone? Because of lan, this makes it mansoob, and here the alamat nasb is hadfun noon. But what about the alif and the waw and the ya? What are they? You've done this before. They are the fa'il. Wal alifu awil wawu awil ya'u. That's khata. There should be awil ya'u. Fa'ilun. They are fa'il. Mabniun ala sukun. All of them are mabniun ala sukun. Fi mahalli raf'in. وَسَتَعْرِفُ ذَلِكَ فِي مَا يَأْتِي. And you're going to come to that. What does it say? You're going to come to that, okay? You are going to come to that. Inshallah. That is alif ithnain, waw jama'ah, ya mukhataba. Are these the only three things that come after fi'l mudari? No. We've done this before. Can be noon tawqeed and can be noon niswa also. In all these five situations, the fi'l mudari will not be mansoob bil fatha. So when we have alif and waw and ya, then the alamat nasb will be, for this fi'l mudari, will be hadf noon. Okay, what about if there's noon tawqeed at the end of fi'l mudari? Let's look at it now. Very simple, and we've done this before. وَإِنِ اتَّصَلَ بِآخِرِهِ نُونُ تَوْكِيدٍ ثَقِيلَةٌ. نُونُ تَوْكِيدٍ ثَقِيلَةٌ. Remember, نُونُ tawqeed, there's two types. نُونُ tawqeed ثَقِيلَة, نُونُ tawqeed خَفِيفَة. ثَقِيلَة with the shadda and خَفِيفَة without the shadda. Yes? So, if at the end of fi'l mudari there is نُونُ tawqeed ثَقِيلَة. نحو what? وَاللَّهِ لَن تَذْهَبَنَّ. Look here. تَذْهَبَنَّ. بَنَّ. Na. This is a نُونُ tawqeed ثَقِيلَة. أو خفيفة. نون توكيد. نعم خفيفة. نحو والله لن تذهبن. والله لن تذهبن. By Allah, you're not going to go. By Allah, you're not going. Yes. Maybe speaking to a friend or someone. By Wallahi لن تذهبن. Wallah, you're not going. You're staying. So here the noon is nunu tawqeedin khafifa. As you can see, there's no shadda sukoon on it. Anyway, in either situation, whether it's nunu tawqeed thaqila, nunu tawqeed khafifa, any of these two noons, which is the main thing is if nunu tawqeed is at the end of a fi'l mudari, then and before it. So there's, picture this. So there's fi'l mudari. At the end of it, it is nunu tawqeed thaqila or nunu tawqeed khafifa. But before it, there is nasib, something that makes it mansoob, like lan. فَهُوَ مَبْنِيٌّ عَلَى الْفَتْحِ. And the fi'l al-mudari here is going to be mabniyun al-fath. Look here, tadhabanna is mabniyun al-fath, which is on the ba. Here la tadhabanna, lan tadhaban, here likewise is mabniyun al-fath, which is upon the ba. So it's mabniyun al-fath, but it's in the mahal of nasb. Remember, something is mabni, it can be in the mahal. It's in the mahal of nasb. Why? Because of the lan. Because of the lan. Lan, remember, makes it mansoob, but it cannot make it mansoob here. Because when noon, tawqeed, thaqila or khafifa is attached to the end of fi'l mudari, then fi'l mudari cannot be mu'rab anymore, becomes mabniyun al-fath. Now it's mabniyun al-fath, it has to be in some mahal now. Why is it in a mahal? Because the thing before it, it dictates that. The nasib that comes before it, it dictates and it requires and it necessitates that it be mansoob. It cannot be mansoob because it's a mabni. So it's going to be in the fi mahalli nasb because of that reason. And the last thing we're going to look at today is this here, to finish this part off. When ittasala bi akhir nunu niswa. Remember, we've done these four things now, yeah? The fifth thing is nunu niswa. If fi'l mudari at the end of the nunu niswa, but before it is something that makes it mansoob, like lan or an or whatever. We're going to look at the nawasib later on, inshallah. Those things that make fi'l mudari mansoob, they are 10 in number, and we will look at them later on, inshallah. Today we looked at lan and an. Yeah. So with these two conditions, we have fi'l mudari. Before it, there's something that makes it mansoob, like lan, and after it, there's attached to it noon an-niswa. What happens in this situation? The same thing happens. It's going to be mabni, be mahalli nasb. But this time it's not going to be mabni ala fath, like nunu tawqeed khafifa thaqila. This time it's going to be mabni ala sukoon. Nahu lan tudrikna al-majda illa bil-afaf. Look here, lan tudrikna is fi'l mudari. Attached to the end of it is nunu niswa, na. And this is why it is mabniun ala sukoon. There's a sukoon on top of the kaf. He's speaking to a group of women and he's saying to them, you shall never gain glory or accept through chastity. Except through chastity. So here, now, فَهُوَ هِينَ إِذٍ مَبْنِيٌ عَلَى السُّكُونِ. Then in this instance, is مَبْنِيٌ عَلى السُّكُونِ. As you can see, fi mahalli nasb. Why fi mahalli nasb? Same thing I've explained to you before, because of the lan. And also this is somewhat new, few new things in here. So I'm going to also just finish off today's lesson with the i'rab of this jumla. To take about 5 minutes max, and then we're done. So let me do this. Lan tudrikna al-majda illa bil-afaf. So lan, we know, I'm not, yeah, harfu nasbin wa nafyin wa istiqbalin. It's mabni ala sukun it's mabni ala sukun. Harfu nasbin wa nafyin wa istiqbalin mabni ala sukun. La mahalla lahu min al-i'rab. It's harf. Tudrikna. Now, so tudrik, yeah, tudrikna It's obviously this is fi'lun mudari'. At this time it is what? Mabniyun ala sukun. Mabniyun ala sukun. Why is it mabniyun ala sukun? Littisalihi bi nun niswa. Because it is attached to nun niswa. So tudrikna fi'lun mudari'un mabniyun ala sukun littisali bi nun niswa. And it is, of course, fi mahalli nasbin. It is fi mahalli nasb, as we explained before, because of the lan. And then noon, yes, you can say it's damir, of course. Damirun muttasil mabniyun ala al-fath fi mahalli raf'in fa'il. It's the fa'il. The noon here, the noon niswa, it is the fa'il. Damirun muttasilun mabniyun ala al-fath, as you can see. Fi mahalli raf'in fa'il. Al-majda is easy, is maf'ulun bihi. Maf'ulun bihi mansub, of course. وعلامة نصبه الفتحة والظاهرة على آخره. نعم. إلا بالعفاف. إلا is harfu, and we will do these later. Harfu istithna. Istithna. Harfu istithna, and is mabniyun ala sukun. إلا مبني على السكون. Yes. لا محل له من الإعراب ولا عمل. It has no محل, it has no عمل, has no محل because the harf is no عمل. No, it doesn't do anything to the word that comes after it. Okay, bil afaf, then verbally I'm going to tell you because we've done something like that hundreds of times. Al ba harful jar mabniyun ala kasri. Al afafi ismun majrurun bil ba. وعلامة جره الكسرة الظاهرة على آخره والجار والمجرور متعلق بتدركنا. المجرور متعلق بتدركنا. Okay, so that's the i'rab of لن تدركنا المجد إلا الفاف. Okay, so today I did all of the i'rab, in fact, most of it at least, because there's new things. So, and for that reason, it's not fair really that I ask you to the i'rab of it. It'd be a bit difficult. نعم مبني على الفتح والسكون في محل نصب. نعم, excellent. Yep. It'd be مبني على الفتح if it's attached to نون توكيد ثقيلة خفيفة. It'd be مبني على السكون if it's attached to نون النسوة. It's also known as حرف حصر. إلا, I've never heard of that. Maybe. Allahu A'lam. I'm not sure. I mean, it has the meaning of hasr, yes. Hasr means to limit something, restrict it. So, of course, it has that meaning. So, maybe from that angle, some of the grammarians may be calling it that. Harfu hasr, maybe. But what is commonly known is harfu istithna, exception. Of course, an exception, it is yani hasr. When you make an exception, you are doing hasr. You are limiting something. You are limiting a ruling to something. So here says the ruling is that the only way to achieve any glory for you women, is talking to some women, is by chastity. Okay, so we'll conclude today's lesson with that. We'll finish here, inshallah. Allahu A'lam. If you have any questions, we have time up to a few minutes 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. If not, then that's fine. Okay, then they will conclude with that. And hopefully we'll see each other, inshallah, next week, same time. Idhnillah. So the main thing is keep revising. If you don't revise this knowledge, you're not going to get much benefit. And it's we're only doing it once a week. Once a week we do 1 hour. And even in that 1 hour, we don't take too much. We're going slow. So the least you should be doing is don't let it pile up. Every week, it's only an hour lesson. Listen to the lesson again, open the book, go through the text, go through the i'rab, try to memorize certain rules. And this is the way to do it. If you don't do it like this, you're going to benefit very little. Khair, inshallah. Allahu ta'ala a'la wa a'lam wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.